Thanks, Nick. Okay, so we're just going to switch over. We had a quick question that came in terms of what screen sizes we sell. The answer is that we don't sell any screens that do what this software runs on. We are screen agnostic in that regard. So we don't sell IFPs or panels. We know there's loads of different options in the market for that, but this software can run on any screen, and that's the important message here. So you can pick and choose which screens you put this with. So the brains of the operation is a Windows 10 PC, and this Windows 10 PC can be set up to run in kiosk mode. So what you're looking at the moment is the startup screen for the software. And this is exactly what Microsoft Teams rooms do. It is a Windows 10 PC. It is being used in all MTRs, and it's being run in kiosk mode. Okay, so let's take you through the screen that you're looking at the moment. Top left corner, we've got the name of the room that we're using. So this is the actual account, in our case on Office 365, that we've linked so that the room is invited to an Office 365 account, just like a room booking panel. And again, exactly the same as what people do with MTRs. They set up the room as a resource within Exchange, and they invite the room to the MTR. It's exactly the same as what's happening here. Bottom left corner, you've got wireless network joining instructions, because one of the first things that people want to know when they're in a meeting room is, how do I get onto the Wi-Fi? So those are visible, but you've also got a button next to that that tells you the joining instructions for how you can wirelessly present, and we're going to demonstrate this to you in a second. Top right corner, you've got today's time and date, and then bottom right corner, you've got your access to some settings, but also access to your task manager. So this is where the administrator can lock down the applications that they're going to allow to run, but the users can switch between those different applications. And then before I go into the actual brains of the software itself, which is in the middle, I just want to talk about the branding and the background. So we've branded this twice. You're not seeing two Ascente logos just because we're pretentious. The top one is the logo that you can customize within the template of the background that comes with this. So it's just a very simple uploading of a logo, and then you'll have the rest of the screen will be the standard Valarea corporate branding, which is a navy blue. But you can also completely customize the background. So we've done both just to show you that you can do both of these things. So you've got a customized background, which in our case has the Ascente logo and an image of one of the rooms that we have in Farringdon at Workplace House that we faded into the background. So now let's go into the actual center of the screen. So we're looking at a room calendar, and the top option, which says instant meeting, is the ability for us to decide which one is our default video application. And so in our particular case, our default video application is Microsoft Teams. So therefore, if somebody just walks into this room and starts a meeting, that will start in Microsoft Teams. But below that, you can see that the room has been invited to a Google Meet and also to a Zoom meeting. Now, the reason that we've got a click to join button for the Google Meet, but not the Zoom meeting, is that again, the administrator can determine how long they're going to allow people to join a meeting in advance. In our particular case, we've set it up for 15 minutes. So 4 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago, this Google meeting would not have had a join button, and the join button appears 15 minutes before the meeting is due to start. And then on the left-hand side, we've got the ability to bring our own personal device by using the Valarea Companion app. And this is a free app that anybody can download. And we're going to demonstrate that to you in a second. So just from the perspective of how we actually start a meeting from the screen, you can either click on the start button, or there is the option of adding a wireless touch controller into the meeting room. So this can be an iOS or Android tablet, and that tablet can be permanently dedicated to the room and then have a click to join function, as well as a trackpad that I'm going to demonstrate to you in a second. And that allows this software to be used with passive screens as well as interactive screens. So before we jump into the bring your own device option and show you some of that functionality running live, I just want to quickly do a screen share. So Nick, have you got your laptop ready there. So one of the things that I asked Nick just to leave on is that when he screen shared in, there is the ability to allow for touch control. So because he's done that, I can actually take control of his PC running live from the screen. And then if we start to bring in other devices, so for example, I'll start mirroring my iPhone in, and we've got Ian's Galaxy that's arrived as well. You can see these things start to get tiled. And again, we can actually start to adjust that tiling by clicking on any of the individual windows. We can take control over which content appears and how big it appears on the screen. So I just want to do a quick plug for GoBright. This is the new GoBright app. For those of you who haven't seen it, this enables you to book rooms and book desks. Another really hot topic at the moment in relation to COVID. This is all part of our growing ecosystem of solutions for the new hybrid world that everybody's predicting and the challenges that that's going to create. So if you're not already involved with us for this product, then please talk to us about that as well. Okay, thanks guys. We could all stop screen sharing now, that'd be great. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate the trackpad to you after I've joined with my personal device. So I'm deliberately using an iPad so that you can see this hopefully running on the actual camera that I'm holding up in front of you. We expect most people will use their phone to do this. But so from this app, and in fact, actually I can screen share in so you can see it. But from this app, I have two buttons. So bottom one on the right hand side says pod, which is what I'm about to use, and it's got on-screen instructions telling me to scan and connect. The bottom right corner is rooms, and we're going to come back to that later. And this is an upsell opportunity that we'll talk about in the second part of the demonstration. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just use that scan feature. If you watch what happens on the screen, as soon as I scan the QR code, the screen has now changed. So I now have two tabs side by side. Room calendar is still there, but I now have my calendar. So this is my personal calendar that has been transferred across onto the screen. But all of the authentication for this is done on the device. So I had to authenticate from a security point of view from the iPad, not from the screen. And that's where I'm allowing the permission for the Valarea software to access my calendar. And on the screen, I've got the ability to access my meetings, okay, which I'm going to join in a second. And on the left-hand side, I've got access to my files. So this is where I can access things from OneDrive, Google Drive, or Dropbox. In this particular case, I've only accessed OneDrive, and I'll show you that running in a second. I've also now got my iPad, which again would be your phone. This has now become a touch controller, because when we're supporting bring your own device, there's also the option of actually turning your personal device into the touch controller so that you have the click to join feature on your personal device. So I'm going to join the Valarea launch option, okay? And then as soon as I press start, my iPad becomes a trackpad. So this now means, I'm trying to make sure you can see the angle. Nick, can you check that for me? That when I'm moving that around on here, I'm actually controlling the device on the screen, okay, like a wireless mouse. And in here, you can now see that we can start our Teams call, where I've got my Join Now button. This is using the desktop version of Teams, and we're going to talk about MTR compatibility in a second. At this point, for all you professional AV companies out there who will be looking at our Heath Robinson setup with a camera on a chair, I need to apologize. We want to have this camera permanently set up on the back wall with a proper remote control and PTZ and all that good functionality. We just haven't had time to get the actual installation done. But that's what we're going to do. So we don't advocate chairs on tables, and I apologize to anybody who's profoundly offended at this point. Just one particular thing that I want to point out is that we've also got controls running across the top of the tablet now. So this allows us to actually control the volume level and also have predefined apps that we're allowed to open directly from the touch controller. But actually the important point here is that I wouldn't want to access my apps from a generic room account, because I wouldn't have access to my content. So instead, I'm going to access my files from my OneDrive, because I've actually got a particular presentation and all of my content is in my OneDrive. So I've got a particular presentation that I want to run and I want to launch it, enabling me to get access to my content with that BYOD functionality. And now I can run that PowerPoint, okay, and just like we were doing before, have access to all of my content, except this time this content has come from OneDrive. So this is the example that we got here of the free companion app with things like the volume control and the apps that you can determine that the users are allowed to launch. This is the click to join feature for the wireless touch controller. And then this can also all be run from the pod via that QR code. Okay. This is a quick screenshot of the authentication of your accounts. So if you look in the bottom right corner here, this is where the user, so in this case it's Chris, Chris can go in and authenticate himself against his different accounts. Okay. And at this point, I now want to stop. So I'm going to finish my presentation. Okay, discard my notes. And then sign myself out. And if I forget to sign myself out, there's also Bluetooth proximity built in, so that even if the user just walks straight out of the room, it can be set up so that as soon as they do that, the system will recognize that the device is no longer within Bluetooth range and it will automatically log them out.